Oh, you beat me to it. That saves me a job. Do me a favour, Sergio, and just speak for me.
Yes, mate. Hello.
Or do my... so, hang on, I need to turn the music down and my... Why is my... hang on, let me turn my microphone up as well. My microphone is low. That's kind of better. Right, let me turn the horrendous techno music down in my settings as well, because F1 for some reason decided, you know what, mate, well, it's already... Is it just... Is this game just a genuinely loud game? I don't know. Speak again, Sergio.
Hello, testing 1 2 1 2.
We'll turn you up a little bit more. One more time.
Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, that'll do. That's that. You peak in top green, bottom yellow. That'll do. Actually, Michael to whack this in the Discord because I don't have the ability to post in the announcements. So, yeah. Don't forget string ping in the F1 chord. I can't. All right. Okay. Well, we can kick off from here. Right. Sergio, we're back. Race week number 2, race night number 2. We have got one of the lobbies, because let me tell you, I don't know how much you... I think we talked about this last week, about how much you kind of knew or didn't know about GP1 last season, but we've gained an elite racer tonight that's going to give the likes of Chizzy and... Is Chizzy even here tonight, actually? I'm looking at the lobby. Is he not here? Wow, that's... I mean, listen, if Chizzy isn't here, by the way, that makes the grid very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so I was just about to say we got a driver here tonight, Sergio, that could really cause Chizzy some problems in Sean Tilla. Tilla, of course, had a really, really strong rivalry with Chizzy at points last season. There wasn't really a race in GP1 where you didn't see, you know, Chizzy, Tilla, and then someone else in the kind of podium top 3. If there's no Chizzy today, I think, by my standards, I would have to put Tilla as the race favourite. Again, VRL Kieran, we saw last week, is brilliant, but the one thing you don't know about VRL Kieran that I can brief you on is this kid. He lives in Scotland, great driver, but he has the sleeping pattern of an Australian. So many times, often rather than not, I've seen VRL Kieran effectively come home from wherever he is, college work, I don't know what he does, and then he sleeps from like 7 p.m. until 1 a.m. I've never seen anything like it. So there will be races this season where VRL Kieran probably isn't here because of that absolutely horrendous honking sleeping pattern. So if that is the case, Cons, Ryan Parker, Michael H. Dino, Lucas Rye, Frost Tactic... Kieran is here. Never mind. Kieran, ignore everything I just said. Kieran is here. Sean R17, looking forward to seeing him drive today. A great FIFA player. A brilliant FIFA player. But can he do it in a warm night in Abu Dhabi? Man's got Tism, Tilla, Craigar, Benchwarmer, Rozzy Wow. Chizzy is here, so never mind. I just can't read. That's why I wear glasses. Shadow's Gunner, Dirty Hippo, Neddy, Jamsy, and Blazer Guns. I mean, top 3 today from my perspective, in my opinion, Sergio. And of course, we'll get your opinion on this. I feel like I've already talked at you, so sorry for that. But I feel like if we're not looking tonight at a top 3 in any order of Tilla, Chizzy, and VRL Kieran, maybe with Jamsy on the side. Again, I like Jamsy for this kind of top 3, top 4 conversation. It would be a shock. This is one of those ones tonight that, because Tilla is in, unlike last week when he couldn't make it, I think we've got our podium wrapped up already. Do you think that's disrespectful to say, or not so much?
No, I don't think it's disrespectful to say, because everyone says it about every kind of sport. You know, you'd expect you like to see your top football teams to win certain games, wouldn't you? So I think it's exactly the same with the racing. It's the drivers carrying the momentum, and you expect them to be near the top, the people that are leading the championship. I know we're only one race in, we're now on our second Grand Prix of the season, I get that, but at the end of the day, the ones that are at the top, they are the strongest performers so far, regardless of how the last race went. So no, I don't think it's unfair at all. I think it's just, that's how racing is, and you know, if you want your name up there, then well, you just got to go quicker. It's as simple as that, basically. So yeah, no, I think that's completely fair.
Well, again, you are our expert here. I take I take no shame in saying that I am the noob when it comes to my knowledge compared to you. You had some great facts and figures and stats last week for us that people loved. What are some things you can tell us about this track at Abu Dhabi? The only thing I can say from seeing it a couple of times is that it's got one of the weirdest pits I've ever seen. It's almost a tunnel for a pit lane. So what is it about Abu Dhabi that you like, that you don't like? Is this going to be a difficult track for the drivers? Is it a boring routine track? Give us something about Abu Dhabi tonight.
So track length this week is a little bigger than the one we saw last week out. Track length this time around is 5.28 kilometers, and the lap record around here is a 1 minute 25, which was set by a Haas car in 2024, which is a very very quick lap time. And to be fair, these guys, I know we're on obviously the F1 game compared to real life, but they are a couple of seconds quicker than the real life quickest lap times. So I would expect to see times in the 1 minute 23s possibly, if that pattern carries on. But this track compared to the last one, obviously it's not a street circuit. There is forgiveness in room outside the track, so if there are any off tracks, if there's any sort of microaggression as the battles go on, a bit of tyre to tyre kind of action, then that's okay. You've got that run-off space, whereas last time you had a wall, so it's basically all or nothing in the move you're making. Whereas, yeah, there's a bit more forgiveness around the track, and it's a nice track as well because there's a mix of everything in there. We have some fast corners. We have some a more of like a constant sort of chicane area of the track, and we have two large DRS zones as well in this circuit, quite close together, only split up by one chicane itself between turns 6 and 7. But yeah, 16 corners in total, and well, this is quite a wide track for most compared to most of them that we're going to visit this season. So this should give us some really good racing.
Wonderful. Well, listen, I said this to you last week as well. You know, we always talk about, you know, certain tracks you're going to benefit more from a controller. Maybe, you know, sometimes, and the majority of times, this is going to, you know, a wheel is beneficial. Is this a wheel track today? Are our drivers that have got, you know, the kind of professional setup, so to speak, going to benefit here, or does it not matter too much today in Abu Dhabi?
I don't think it matters as much. It can be a little easier in Sector 3, which is the constant left-right turns. They're more or less 90-degree turns, so it will be a bit easier on your tyres to keep that extra tread there and extra grip. But it's not essential. You can easily do it with a controller. You just need to be sort of thinking maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead of where you actually are, just to make sure you have your analog stick in the right position for the next turn, so you have the correct entrance into that corner.
Wonderful. And you know, I said this last week about Azerbaijan, about Baku. I said, you know, that was the deathmatch track in our league's history. It's the one where we've seen the most safety cars, the most deaths, and so forth and so forth. Is this one or the other, or neither? Is it a deathmatch track today where we're going to see a lot of death and safety cars? Is it a penitentiary where we're going to see a lot of penalties for the drivers, or are we going to see neither and just a clean race today based on what we saw last week from our drivers?
Well, everyone hopes obviously it's going to be a clean race, but the one thing that is less likely compared to last week is safety cars and virtual safety cars. So again, these numbers come off of the real life Formula 1, and I'm doing my best to try and translate that into the sim. But basically, safety car probability is about 38%, and it's up to 38% as well. So anything between 0 and there, and the same percentage for the virtual safety car. So 38%, anywhere up to that for both virtual and actual safety cars. So I think it's very unlikely we will see one this evening, unless there is a large pile-up, which at the end of the day, the biggest chance of a pile-up of cars this evening is either going to be right at the start or right at the death. They're the only two times. I think in between we're going to get what you call the F1 fever, and I think the midpoint in this race we're going to get that point where there's just going to be gaps forming everywhere. No one's really battling anyone, and then it'll come closer together towards the end of the race. This is one of those circuits. Gotcha.
And you know, talking to safety cars, get your opinion. Not only you know as an avid F1 fan, but you know a guy that loves the game in general, the aspect of sim racing. The poll put up by our wonderful race director, commissioner, whatever you want to call him, Michael Scary Times, saying, you know, the poll for the safety car is important, That went up today. It's still got 13 hours left, so if you are in the league racing or even on the reserve list, go in and whack a vote. Every vote matters. What are your thoughts on that? Are you happy with the normal safety car? Or are you more in the camp of a reduced safety car just to kind of let people get on with the race and get the race flowing quicker? What do you stand on that poll?
I think I'm actually more on the side of the increased safety car. I can't lie, because I feel like it adds spice into it. For example, you could have, take the time tower as it stands at the minute. You could have Chrissy with everything, absolutely storming. Turns into the VFL Max Verstappen, runs away with it by race 6. He's already clinched the title because he's that far gone. It could be one of those seasons. But if you put a safety car in, just a safety car here and there, maybe not every race, but every few races or so, that mixes things up and potentially brings it a lot closer as well. So those kind of things, okay, they do slow races down. It can be a bit annoying, especially for the drivers, knocking you out of your routine. But that really spices up the season. So entertainment factor, it's fantastic for fans, horrible for drivers.
Yeah, well, so far that is leading 27-5 in favour of normal compared to reduced. So it doesn't look like that one's going to be switching any time soon. What we can do quickly as well, refresh people's memories, whether they're watching our live or on replay, of what happened this time last week, season 3, race week 1. We can pop up the standings, give people a little bit of a view on that. So you'll lose the gameplay picture if you're watching this at the minute. But that's what it looked like there last week. So a little bit, again, just really get close, get intimate with your computer screen, because it's a little bit zoomed out from Michael. But yeah, Chizzy leading the way, Vero, Kieran right behind them. Shadow's Gunner finished in 3rd position. We talked about how good Shadow's Gunner and Rai are. We talked about their huge potential. Blazer Guns made such a huge impact last week, finishing in 5th position. Michael as well, a driver that we've often said, the owner, the leader of this all, but his reactions behind the wheel gone. Finished in 6th place, not bad. You were high on Lucas, I was high on Jamsey. Jamsey in the end got given a 10-second penalty. I'm reading there, so I think that was because of the incident we saw at the very end. So that's interesting. And disappointing for him in the Aston Martin. But again, I think this is a race tonight where, like you said, and like you kind of put brilliantly, it's so much more different compared to somewhere like Baku, somewhere like Azerbaijan, because it isn't one of those street circuits. And I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like tonight we're going to see a lot more technical driving. I think this is going to be a lot more of a chess match on the grid. And I think definitely so because of the introduction of Tilla. I think we've went from having, before the race starts, before the lights go out, we went last week and we said, there's a kind of definite 1-2. We kind of said to each other, Chizzy, Kieran, Chizzy, and then third's open for interpretation. Tonight, that only gets a little bit more tighter, because now you're talking about it should be Chizzy, Kieran, and Tilla with Jamsey on the outside. So there's maybe someone like Jamsey who's got a point to prove. There's got to be maybe a little bit of an irking from some of those drivers that provided such great quality driving last week, like a Blazer Guns, like a Shadow's Gunner, to kind of go, hey, I'm disrespected here. You're not even putting me in the podium after how I raced last week. Well, you're gonna have to go and prove it, because again, the grid is only getting more. It's only getting more action packed. It's only getting more higher in quality, and that means the racing and the driving becomes even more tense, even more anxiety ridden. And that is what you want to see. 7.5 minutes here, just under, before quali ends. One thing I want to kind of bring to you then tonight is, what do you know about some of these new guys coming in? Of course, I don't know if you know too much about Sean Arve, who was in GP2 and you saw him last season. He's a brilliant, one of the very best FIFA players on the 11v11 side. Multiple Champions Leagues in the locker, so he can compete at an elite level. He doesn't get phased by nerves, but how much does that translate, do you think, from the FIFA pitch to the grid? Do you think that's going to make any difference to his driving tonight, or is he in for a shock based on the quality that we saw in the grid last week?
I wouldn't quite say it's going to be a shock, but I think it's going to maybe take a little bit of time to get into it. Not too sure on Sean's resume when it comes to the F1 side of things, so I'm not too sure how much time Sean's actually put into this game, but say there is quite a bit of time there. I reckon it'll be a case of maybe it'll just be finding his feet in this qualifying. or if he doesn't want to use up too much tyres, it might be the case of the first 5 laps of the race. Okay, maybe starting, as you can see on the time tower at the minute, towards the back of the grid, not a problem at all. Ease through the first few laps, get into your groove, get comfortable. Once you're comfortable, then you can start pushing things and testing people as well. Because this could be a case of this is a race for the likes of those nearer the back of the grid to maybe start sizing up some of their closer rivals for this season.
Yeah.
Because if you finish in a similar position to where you were in race 1, you know you're going to be around there probably for most of the season. You might not, you might suddenly turn things around, but that's the momentum thing we spoke about earlier. It's likely that you're going to be around there most of the season. So you can really start sizing up your opponents and try and start forming some hit strategies, some undercuts, some overcuts. Really try and get the upper hand on some of those people. So I believe that Sean will probably do that tonight. But again, I don't know a ton about Sean, I have to admit. That would be my go-to, though. If I'm in Sean's shoes right now, it'd be get comfortable, get in the groove, and just focus and see out the race.
While you were just saying that there, great advice, by the way. We've just seen 2 incredible times set by 2 names that we've been talking about constantly non-stop. Rosie Wow, by the way, before I go into this, with a great time of 1:23.2, but that just shows you the quality of Chizzy and Tilla there, Sergio, because Tilla, a 1:22.9, but just ever so slightly quicker than a 1:22.792 from Chizzy. How impressive are those times for you? Does that kind of set the standard immediately?
Yeah, 100%. That's all guns blazing, basically. The predicted time, I said, was about a 1:23, which everyone had hit the nail on the head with it. And, of course, Chrissy and Tilla had to pull one out of the bag that I have to admit I weren't expecting from anyone tonight. I can't lie. But to breach into the 1:22s with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, normally people don't put in the best lap times they can do till the last sort of minute, because then it is just a shootout at that point. So it's a case of your last lap's gotta be your best time. So this still could be maybe 80 to 90% of the actual ability of Tilla and Chrissy. They could go one step further and potentially look at low 1:22s. I think 1:21's probably out of the question at the minute, but a low 1:22 is a possibility, considering most of the grid are in the pit as well. When they come back out in the next sort of 3 or so minutes, I think we could see some real tight battling at the top with the timing.
Yeah, and I think all eyes now go on to the other kind of one of the big 3, one of the big 3 amigos here, which is Vero Kieran, who is now on his outlap, and kind of get your reaction to that quickly as well. Just look at that gap, the slightness of the gap between 7th and 10th already. A 1:23.609 in 7th, a 1:23.665 in 10th. That indicates to me tonight that the battle for points is going to be quite something, I must say. A really, really good grid tonight. Really, really awesome grid. You've got battles everywhere. You'll be seeing trains. You'll be seeing tight racing. I think it's all there for the taking. We've only got 3 minutes to wait. If I had to put a gun to your head, Sergio, and say, tonight, driver to watch for either a positive reason or a negative reason, someone that you think is going to blow us away, or someone that you think maybe only 2 weeks in has got some pressure on them, who is your driver to watch today going into this race?
Oh, that is a tricky one. I think driver to watch in terms of pressure is going to be Cons, and that is a bit of a cop-out, because I pick Cons every time this question is presented to me, because I know that Cons puts himself under pressure, and he always finds himself in a bad situation. Not his fault, and it is just purely race and luck does not go Cons' way. So for a bad sense, I think Cons may feel a bit of the pressure tonight. We'll see. Already done 3 laps on a set of the soft tyres that are on his car at the minute as well. So he might be feeling that pressure, and that might be evidence of that, considering no one else has got even close to that kind of number on their tyres. But I think near the top of the tower, it's going to be the people just outside the podium, be Rye and Dirty Hicko, that are in for a shout here of a podium, who currently just sit outside of it. But one thing to note realistically is from second all the way down to P15, technically speaking, those times there are all within the DRS zone of each other. Remember, you need to be within a second of the car ahead to be in DRS. Mm-hmm. If those cars are all lapping about those times, they're all going to be within DRS. So we're potentially going to see about 13 to 14 cars in a chain this evening, all fighting for some DRS and position. So this could get really tense. very, very quickly.
Whoa, and just talk about tense there. Look at that. You said we were going to see the best at the last kind of minute, and we have Kieran there, Sergio, a 122.211. Almost pretty much over a half a second, or sorry, half second faster than Chizzy. So the gap now between first and second, a 122.2 and a 122.7. We always called Kieran the champion of quali. It's just about translating that onto the grid. But a 122.2, that's some statement with 50 seconds to go, isn't it?
Certainly is, and that is the time to beat. And honestly, Tilla and Chrissy are going to have a good shot at it. Looking at things at the minute, Tilla's got one car in front of him, then it's clean air. So Tilla's probably going to be in the best position in terms of getting that next lap in with no interruptions ahead of him. And to be fair, Chrissy also in a great situation as well. So both cars in prime situations here to get that top spot back again. And Chrissy just enters onto his last time lapse of the session now.
There you go. Well, while he does that last time lap of the session, I've had it poised to me. We'll poise it to you as well. The guns in my head. Gringo prediction for a winner. I think tonight I'm staying safe. I think Chizzy does it again. He's got experience. He's got titles. He's got it all. I think he'll pull it out the bank, but it'll be a lot tighter than last week, put it that way. Sergio, guns to your head. Who's winning tonight?
I'm gonna back Kieran. I think Kieran's got this one tonight. I think it's gonna go the way of Kieran. And whether he finishes on top spot here in this qualifying session or not, I think in the race the quality's there, and with a wider track as well, can push things a little bit further.
There you go. Well, thanks so much as well, Lucky, for the plan. I appreciate it so much. Cheat now, Lucky. You should look into it. James as well got disqualified from quali. I need the wrong way, I believe it was. So I think that will set him up at the back, and that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. You avoid all the carnage at the front. Just a reminder to the drivers listening in who are also racing at the same time. No doubt Michael will tell you this. Please do not ready up when we go into the pits, into the garage after the loading screen. Do not ready up. Michael will allow you a kind of minute, 2 minutes to kind of, pick your setups and do everything. Just please do not ready up until you get the ping, until you get the announcement from Michael that we are green lit. But for now, Kieran very much looking like the gold standard. Chizzy's got his time down to a 122.5, Tilla to a 122.8. The battle between these three, not just tonight but all season, is going to be something to watch. And fair play, Rozzy Wow, someone that I'm high on massively. Love this guy as a driver, a 123.069 in the end as well. So he is looking pretty fast here tonight in Abu Dhabi. So here we go then. We're off to the pits again. One more time, fellas. And again, Michael will stress this to you. Please do not ready up. He will allow you to make some changes to your setup, and then, of course, we will go from there. But there's the full qualifying leaderboard in case Michael needs it and wants it on stream replay. All of the information and facts there. But again, really impressed tonight, man. I know it's only qualifying, Sergio, but the grid tonight looks up for it. There are going to be battles everywhere, and it's going to be a really, really interesting one here. Who takes it between Kieran, Chizzy, Tilla, and I think more importantly, who kind of, wins the battle for fourth? Rozzy Wow, Rye, Benchwarmer, Dirty Hippo. Some absolutely brilliant names and brilliant drivers here tonight. But at the end of the day, only one person can win. So let's head to the pits, let these drivers make their adjustments, let these drivers make their amendments. And then, of course, we will go from there. Hopefully as well, we have no PC issues tonight. Of course, if a PC driver, for some reason, needs to be invited back, I don't know if it would be better to message Sergio or me, because again, we have seen it before where PC drivers do disconnect, and that's never fun. But yeah, of course. How many laps did you say this was going to be tonight, Sergio? About 20, high 20s, low 30s?
I think it's going to be, I want to say it's sort of mid to high 20s.
Okay. Well, one thing I'll say to you as well before, and we can get this in before we green light here, what would your tyre strategy be if you were racing this tonight?
judging on this is normally a fairly hot track both day and night. If I'm looking to play it safe, I'd probably start on the medium first and see how the tyre degradation goes down from there, and then decide whether it's going to be a case of see the hards up to the end of the race or go aggressive and go softs. But I think the medium will be the safe bet for me. But I'm just looking at the tyre data actually around this circuit, and this is information and stats all gathered from recent Grand Prix here. The 3 tyres that are most affected at this course is the front right and both the rears.
Okay.
Front left is the one that suffers the least around this circuit. The lateral energy, which is the out, if you were to split the tyre, look top down on the tyre and you split it into thirds, the centre part of the tyre is the longitudinal energy with the power of the car going forward, and the 2 outside thirds are when the car's obviously turning, and that left-hand tyre on the outside thirds gets used the very least due to the way the cars are set up with their camber. All other tyres, though, do get into a dark sort of orange zone, so if you were to look at it from a green to red sort of scale, they're getting in the dark orange area before they need replacing. So they will go down quickly, but it's just a case of how aggressive are you at driving, and that's going to decide on how quickly they're going to go down before you need to come in for your pit.
Even Zebra's impressed. Zebra just put holy science in the chat. So I know this is why he said this kid should be employed by F1 at this point, man. He's got all the facts, all the figures, all the data. I'm just here to ask the really kind of mundane questions to make him look great. You know what I mean? We're a tag team, man, but he does all the heavy lifting. He's the John Cena, and I'm the sideshow. So it's one of those. His bro's got analytics. He does. This is fucking. He's incredible. It's why we love him, man. But. Of course, we're not too far away here. Michael said, do not ready up until 9:57 p.m. GMT. So I think the ready up will be coming any moment now, and we should be pretty much up and underway imminently here in Abu Dhabi tonight. And interested to see how the drivers tackle this one in terms of their strategy, in terms of their chess matches all over the grid. And of course, it's always fun to see what happens in the first corner. Are we going to see death and despair, or clean, orderly fashion racing? We were very impressed, or Sergio was very impressed last week with how good, how well behaved it was at Baku. But this is a new week and a new race. Here we go, though. We're off, and we are officially underway. Here we go, then. It is race week 2, and there is your tyre data. And the first corner of the track, someone going a little bit wide. But there's been a bit of a clipping at the back here. I think there was. I don't know if that was something to really keep our eye on. But what do you make of these tyre strategies then, Sergio? Again, you talked to us about what you would do. Is there much surprise to you that we're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the drivers tonight coming out with hard setups to start?
I don't think that's a massive surprise. The biggest surprise would have been coming out on softs, because that is a very aggressive move. And, well, as you can see from the conditions as well, we're not that late in the day. It's evening, but it's not night time when these races normally go ahead. So the track is going to be a little hotter as well. So that might actually be the safer option. But ultimately, we'll find out as the race goes on. But notice how those hard tyre users are towards the back of the pack. The hardest one being Ryan Parker in P8 at the minute. And unfortunately, one of those hard tyre runners was Shadow Gunner, who was actually involved in the incident at the very start, losing 9 positions.
Well, maybe. Does it look like his car's missing a wing or having any damage, or just too early to tell from your perspective?
Sorry, say that again?
I said, can you tell from his car, Shadow Gunner's car, if he's missing a wing or if there's any damage that he's going to need to replace at this early moment, or is it too early to tell?
No damage on that car as far as I can see. The only thing I can see is possibly a bit of talent or ego damage towards the back, because there's a few people that have been spinning out and bumping into each other there. And Ferrari, Haas and a Red Bull all involved in the action towards the back of the grid there.
Well, for now, there's been a little bit of space formed between Kieran and Tilla, as Chizzy and Kieran still remain within close contact with one another, and this is the battle you're going to be seeing all night tonight. We saw Chizzy overtake here on the first lap to hold the lead. Kieran not able to do it that time. For now, those two will rumble on. Let's go back through the rest of the grid here and see what we've got. And there is, you know, a bit of a train forming here now, starting to form slowly in P6. Blazer Guns trying to chase down Benchwarmer in the Mercedes. And again, I think this is going to be just the topic of the race, the theme of the race tonight, where you're going to see these kind of mini battles all over the grid. Going back even a little bit further, look at this one. I mean, Cons has just gone so wide there. That's lost him a bit of space just behind Ryan Parker. Down here as well, look at this. Jamsey and Neddy, the two Aston Martins working together. Lucas right behind them. There is a real train here down into P16 onwards, Sergio. I mean, is this the kind of position of the race in this low position of the grid? And also with the train forming here, is this the recipe for a disaster potentially to form, or does it all depend on the attitude of the driver?
I think it is all on the attitude of the drivers, on the aggression levels, but we do have...
Blazer Guns, yep.
I was just about to touch on the fact that we've got multiple teammates all around each other in this sort of mid-pack, so there's going to be massive team battles coming up, but that is taking a massive hit for the Alpine team, because now that's Blazer dropping down to P19 overall, so massively fallen out of the charge.
Did you catch what happened there, or missed it? Because I just saw him dropping down the grid and switched over quickly, just saw his car spun around there, so I didn't get to see that. But
I think, from what I could see, I believe he lost it on turn 1, between turn 1 and turn 2, and I could just be a case of getting on the power a bit too much, kicking up a bit of wheel spin on the rear tyres, which has cooked him and just sent him around. That's from what I could see on this onboard point of view. Just
like you said as well, you said the biggest chance that there would be of chaos and carnage would be at the very start of the race or the very end of the race. So you'll bang on the money there. And you can just see there's just constant change of positions here. As we're just watching Shadow's going to take over Man's Got Tism at this lower part of the grid. So pressure on Shadow's going to kind of build on that brilliant performance from last week as he finished in third. And look at that, Ryan Parker now also suffering. He's been clipped and spun, I believe, and now he's down in 17th. I don't know if he was actually involved in a big incident there. Reminder to people listening who are racing, if you are feeling like you've been hard done by here, and you are feeling like someone's been a naughty so-and-so with their race etiquette, make sure you get a clip, report it to the stewards, the FIA, penalties handed out accordingly. But for now, you know, no safety cars, no penalties. It's been pretty much an on-point race so far. Chizzy still leading the lead here, leading the pack here, should I say, with Kieran just behind him. Kieran just cannot get past him, though. This is what we said last week when we were in Baku, Sergio, is that when Chizzy historically gets the lead, he does not give this up without a fight. We've seen him lead 70-85% of the races before. Kieran in making a move on the outside. Is he just about to get it? He is just ahead, and Chizzy about to retake the position again. They are both neck and neck here tonight. This is incredible between these two. And I thought there was going to be maybe a bit of contact there, but fair play, Chizzy. They're just avoiding Kieran, and Kieran wrestles the lead away from Chizzy. 4 laps in, and these two are just going for each other like it's lap 28 or lap 29 already, Sergio. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it is going to be that push of trying to get in front of your nearest rival early doors, get comfortable in that groove, in that rhythm that I like to talk about, because it is very key when it comes to driving any racing car of any kind. And once you're in that position as well, you're ahead of your opposition. You kind of got the front foot with the pit stops. You kind of determine the pace on when you're going to go in, and you don't have to react to the car ahead necessarily, because we see that a lot in F1, where the car chasing often reacts and changes their pit strategy based on what the car ahead does.
Yeah.
So if you are that car ahead, you get to make the calls.
Well, for now, we will wait and see what Kieran decides to do if he can keep the lead, because again, you're thinking about on those medium tyres. I mean, how many laps do you think you can safely get in? Between 8 and 10?
Yeah, I think on the mediums, you're probably, I'd say between 10 and 13.
Okay.
Is where I'm going to place it.
See,
roughly.
On every game I play, FIFA, F1, Madden, whatever, I'm always conservative. You're saying 10 to 13, I'm saying 8 to 10. I'd be panicked. I'd be anxious about my wheels, but there you go. I mean, these guys know more than me. That's the truth of it. Tilla has done well, by the way, to kind of close the gap, hasn't he? He's gone from kind of staring at the distance at these two to just being right on the tail of Chizzy here. But just, I mean, the way that Kieran and Chizzy have raced so far, it's going to be so difficult for Tilla to kind of bridge the gap even more and get one of those kind of penultimate overtakes. Scrolling through the grid again quickly here. Some spacing happening, but there is a bit of a train starting to form. Neddy here, as we're with him on board, just trying to get the overtake with Rye. But so far, a great night early doors for the Aston Martin, Sergio. 9th and 10th, both of them in the points, and just ahead of them as well, McLaren, if my logos are correct, 7th and 8th. The Mercedes, 4th and 6th. I mean, it's a great night for the teams so far. The Mercs, the McLarens and the Aston Martins all doing what they need to do.
Yeah, certainly are, and it's probably going to come down to that team game as well. Obviously, you've got to remember that we do have multiple titles on the line. Obviously, you've got the single driver performance title, and then you've actually got constructors as well. So team plate is going to come down to probably the wire, to be fair, in this. But yeah, you look at from P5 to P10, that's teammates all backed up with each other, and at least they're in 2x2. And I mean, okay, they may not be directly involved in that fight we just mentioned, but Kick Sauber and Haas as well. Another team battle, a bit further down the grid.
Is that rare in F1 to see so many teams so close to each other? 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th, 9th and 10th. We had 14th and 15th, 16th and 17th. Like, everyone's just tag teaming together tonight. Everyone's just so compact, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's rare to see drivers that compact, because normally there is one standout driver. It's normally the teams towards the back of the pack that tend to be more even, because there's not much difference in the power in their cars. But then you know, the obvious example, Red Bull, the car's made for Max Verstappen, it's not made for the secondary driver. That's a key example. It's Project Max, and you've got the same with other teams as well. When Lewis Hamilton was with Mercedes, it was Project Hamilton. The other driver would get close on pace, but just wasn't quite there, because obviously the setup was tuned to one driver, whereas in this it's a lot more even, because each driver has their own setup. And you know, they probably will share as well. If they're going for a constructor's title, they will share setups and tactics and things like that. So it's a lot more of an even field here compared to the real F1.
There you go. Well, listen, we've had a couple of pits or pittings from the drivers so far. Benchwarmer and Rye going on to fresh hards here at lap 7. Michael has been on 1 lap old hards since lap 6. So going on to hards this early, I mean, that indicates to me that realistically they're going to try and get to maybe around about lap 20, lap 21, and then go for one more round of mediums. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, sounds like it could be a two-stop strategy. And I think come that point in the race, if you feel like you could maybe eke out a little more in those hard tyres, then you could even look at the softs. I wouldn't make direct eye contact with them just in case they rub off the wrong way, but there's a chance that you could pull that one off. Aggressive move, don't get me wrong, but you might need that aggression come the end of the race if you want to salvage any points, because obviously those people that are going onto that setup towards, again, the rear of the pack. So if you want to try and claw back up, that might be the way to go.
And there you go, look at that, just as we're talking about that, then more drivers have just pitted. Dirty Hippo, everyone's favourite German Marcel, in 16th now with the Mercedes, but he's on to fresh hards. Cons pitted onto fresh hards. Lucas is pitted, and he's gone to another batch of fresh mediums. I don't know if he started on hards or not, but if he did, he's flipped onto fresh mediums. So, yeah, all the drivers tonight kind of flipping and rotating between the medium and hard setup and their tyres. And for now, listen, just as we saw those pits happen, the Kick Sauber are now both in the points. Man's got Tism and Ryan Parker sitting in 9th and 10th respectively. Of course, they've still got a pit, as does everyone ahead of them. Frost Tactic has benefit as well. Griminus, as we know and love him as ventured his way up to 11th position. But a very, very intriguing one, especially because I'm interested to see at what point, you know, Blazer Guns makes this ascension up the grids. We talked about him being this endurance driver. He had that first kind of nightmare with that incident on turn 1, as you said. I would wager my life that he is not going to finish in P20 tonight. A dark horse there, and we're only 9 laps in, so plenty of time, 20 laps to go for him to kind of venture up and rescue this race tonight. So keep an eye on him in the Alpine. Him and Lucas, by the way. Lucas, again, did so well last week. I got all the confidence in the world that these two are not going to be our bottom 2 tonight. So watch out. Sean R as well, the debutant, going in. Oh, but look at that. We've got the first 2 penalties 9 laps in. And just as I'm praising Blazer Guns, he goes and makes me look silly, Sergio. A 3-second penalty for him and Manscott-Tism. That's not going to make the task any easier, is it?
No, it certainly isn't. And those penalties will come from the most likely of reasons, which is off-tracks. Off-tracks going completely off the circuit, all 4 tyres, and just exceeding those track limits and pushing the stewards to sort of like edge of their nerve, basically. And that's going to be the most common way people pick up penalties tonight. It's not going to be through contacts. It is going to be through off-tracks. The likelihood of contact we will see is at the end of the DRS straights, which there's 2 in sector 2, in fact, and they're both on those back sort of straights that you can see on the high curve of this course. At the end of those, when you come into the braking zone, if you're diving up the inside, there's a chance that the person you're racing won't see you up the inside, so they might turn in. That's the only contact I reckon we'll see this evening. The rest of it, all the penalties will come from any off-tracks that have been given, just like Cons has demonstrated there.
There you go, just spoke it into existence. Get your opinion on that one as well. Chizzy was just behind Kieran, and as you said earlier on, you know, the car that's usually in front dictates what happens with pit strategy and pit maneuvers. Kieran has stayed out there with his 9-lap-old mediums. Chizzy, who was in second, has gone in and is now ventured on to fresh hards. Is that a wise decision? Should he have stayed out there and kept the pace with Kieran, or do you not mind that from Chizzy?
I don't mind it. I have to admit, I do not mind that. Obviously, onto fresh hards. You've got some of the people that are yet to stop, obviously, on 9-lap-old tyres. So those are going to be the people he can actually push to get by. And he's already got past one of the people he needs to get past as soon as possible, which is Benchwarmer, who's only on 3-lap-old hards, so there's not much difference in the two. But now he can start chasing down those people with 9-lap-old tyres. And I think the tactic he might be going for here is pitting before your opponent and then making up that time. Because if he can find his way into any DRS zones here within a second of the driver ahead, he's going to gain an advantage. That extra 10 to 15 kilometers an hour down the straight could make up all the difference of Kieran's pit stop. So he could find himself ahead of Kieran after this round of pit stops once Kieran has completed his stop.
Yeah, no, it makes the interesting kind of conversation of when Kieran is going to go in with those 10-lap-old mediums. It wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be imminently, but tell you, for all these, you know, pit decisions, it's only gone and benefited the Aston Martin, because Jamsey now, of course, for the time being, in the podium position of 3rd, with Neddy just behind him in 4th. And, you know, we talked about this last week a little bit in Baku, and we talked about, you know, the importance of being a good teammate. And now it's going to be interesting to see if Neddy, or if he overtakes Jamsey, you know, whoever is behind the leading Aston Martin, just acts as, you know, as a blocker, as a boxer, as someone that is going to try and assist their teammate to get as far ahead of the, you know, the big names as possible. But for now, brilliant from the Aston Martin, brilliant from the Ferrari as well. Tilla in 2nd, Shadows Gunner in 6th, Ryan Parker and Manscott-Tism in the Kick Sauber 7th and 9th, although of course that 3-second time penalty will muddy things up a little bit. Even the Mercedes 10th and 12th, or 9th and 12th now for Benchwarmer and Dirty Hippo. But yeah, it's all going on. It's all very much kind of in the conversation so far of what is the first big mistake that's going to happen that shifts the dynamic of this race for so many teams. 3-second penalties now coming for Hdinho and Ryan Parker. So bad news for the Kick Sauber there, Sergio. Both drivers there now with 3-second time penalties, which is probably going to hinder them towards the end of the race. And now look at them, they're all flying out now. Rossi Wow getting a 3-second time penalty as well for multiple warnings. We've got track limits as well. So again, more drivers hitting the pits here. Rossi Wow on those 11-lap-old mediums has gone in. And interestingly enough, Ryan Parker and Shadow's Gun that have gone in to the pits as well, only with 11-lap-old hards. So Shadow's Gunner now going back on to fresh hard, so it's probably going to be a hard medium ideology there for Shadow's Gunner. And for Ryan Parker, he goes on to fresh medium, so changing his hards for mediums here tonight. For now, it's all eyes on you know, Chizzy in the Red Bull on those 2-lap-old hards, chasing down Neddy and Jamsey, who are on 11-lap-old hards, and you'd think he's going to be right back in the conversation soon enough, because I don't know how many more laps Kieran and Tilla are going to be able to put out there with those mediums starting to probably scream at them. 12 laps down, 17 laps to go, as we're roughly at around about the halfway point of our race tonight. And a big thank you to all of our drivers listening, and even the guys that are watching that are reserve drivers. This is exactly what you would want to see. It's been a great, clean race tonight for the most part. And also, everyone was here on time, Sergio. No one was late for quali. We started bang on 9:30, and that means everyone gets off quicker, which is always the aim. Kieran there, as we were just alluding to, eventually going into the pits. 12-lap-old mediums, and he is now very much going to come out onto fresh hards. Mansbach-Tism has just had another 3-second time penalty there. So a reminder on the penalties for you so far. Tism on 6, Cons on 3, Hdino on 3, Benchwarmer, a big driver here in 5th position, just got a 3-second penalty there as well. Roziwao on 3, Ryan Parker on 3. They're starting to rack up here, these penalties, Sergio. Is that concerning for you, or is that all just part and parcel of this track?
No, I think that's in the routine / the rhythm of this track / group of drivers, because they're now really starting to push each other. I've been watching Chrissy for the last sort of 3-4 laps now, and all the drivers he's got in behind, speaking of which, he's right behind Jamsey now, easy overtake under DRS, around the outside. Every time Chrissy's come up near another car, you can see them really pushing the limits of the track. And as I was watching him earlier, he was actually behind Rozzy, and you can see Rozzy trying to defend using that extra bit of circuit, and that's actually the part where he got 3-second time penalty there. So it's people like Chrissy and also other drivers as well, where you're pushing up onto your opponent, and that's scaring the driver ahead, because they then start driving in the mirrors, which is one of the worst things you can do when racing. You need to spend as little time as possible looking into those, but obviously some people like to look in it and just check where other cars are, which is understandable, but that does cost you massively on circuit, and that's how people like Chrissy can prevail, which he's done so, because so far he's hit everything absolutely spot on getting up into P1.
Now, let me get your opinion on this. Of course, Neddy in the meantime as well has come out on fresh mediums down there in 13th. That'll be giving him some injection of speed. Give me your opinions on Tilla. Tilla there, who had maintained position. He went in with 12-lap-old mediums. He's now on fresh hards. Of course, Kieran only 1-lap-old hards as well. Is this going to be difficult for Chizzy to get over the line? Because it feels like he's not going to have an opportunity to pit if he wants to win this race, Sergio, which means he's going to need to do another 15 laps on those hards, meaning that he would have to be on to 19-lap-old hards by the time he finishes this race. Has he made a miscalculation with the pitting?
Potentially, unless he feels that he's strong enough to hold off the opposition with a set of mediums, or he's going for the aggressive and going on softs, because we've not seen anyone do that yet. I know I've only had one pit stop out of the way so far, but there is a chance that Chrissy might be going, well, you know what, I know, he might have done some practice. He knows he can get, say, let's go with 7 to 8 laps out of the soft tyre set. So if you can get your hards across to that point, you've then opened the checkbox for the soft tyres. You can fling them on, and you can really cut the time down then to the other cars, either in front of you or add it to the ones behind you. So it could be looking towards that, but the key thing to look out for here will be Jamsey. Watching him run this lap and seeing how his tyres are, because 14-lap-old tyres there, old hards as well. So this is ultimately what we're going to be seeing Chrissy doing in the next 10 laps.
It feels like it's a reverse strategy from Jamsey, doesn't it? It feels like he's going to try and take those hards all the way to the bank and then switch to mediums to kind of finish the race. I don't know how that's going to go for him, but yeah, I think the big conundrum is going to be when do those hard tyres start to really scream, punctures. Oh my goodness me, someone's just whipped to the side there and said, I thought maybe someone from behind Ryan Parker there had clipped him, but he just seemed to have, I don't know, had a bit of a shaky hand moment there and just kind of started to shake viciously and swerve to the left-hand side. No incident though, he's still alive, he's still active, so, I mean, that's good. Thoughts on VRL Kieran's ability? The ability to race, fantastic. The ability to be awake at a normal time, rare. The fact that he's here tonight, wonderful. He should be, again, in the top 3. There you go. He's, yeah, you know, on his day, fantastic. But it's just his mentality. You know, it's just his mentality. We said it so many seasons before. Kieran's someone that can have a great race and can win the race and be dominant in the race. But Kieran's also the same guy that he can have one bad lap. You know, Kieran is the kind of guy that can win this race and lead it for all 29 laps, or he's the kind of guy that can have one bad bit of steering in lap 1, go to 12th in the podium, or in the grid, excuse me, and then say, I can't be bothered to try and recover it, I'm going to retire 2 laps in. Very explosive, very temperamental. We saw it as well with Madden. You know, he's got a history of it. His Madden record, and I will bring Madden into F1, but it's all relevant. His Madden record in the kind of the more amateur league, 40-something, like 43 wins and 4 losses. You know, we wanted to push him up to the, you know, the kind of harder league. He played 1 game, he lost 1 game and said, not for me, put me back down. So, you know, it's Kieran is good and is an excellent driver when the race is going his way and everything is smooth. It's when there's a little bit of adversity that comes his way and a little bit of kind of, you know, oh, I've got to try and I've got to put some effort in. He seems to kind of maybe submit a little bit too easily, which is something he'll no doubt become better at, because I think he could have won the Constructors last season. So many races he either missed due to his sleep schedule or missed out on points because he just did not want to recover after a bad start. If he recovered those races and got into the points, got into top 3, top 4, could he have won the title? Maybe not, but he would have been a lot closer than what he was, because it was a landslide in the end last season, considering how, you know, how many points Chizzy won by. And Chizzy and Kieran, ability-wise, are so neck and neck. They're such great rivals. There's no reason as to why Kieran should be finishing that far behind again this season. It's all down to Kieran. The only person that can beat Kieran is himself. I've said it so constantly. I think the kid's awesome. I think he's a great kid, but he has to be able to kind of overcome that mental obstacle. He has to. He has to. Typical Kieran quitting when the competition gets better. That's funny. That's funny. Well, for now, Mercedes here with Benchwarmer and Dirty Hippo in 5th and 6th position. 17 laps down. 12 laps to go, Sergio. So over the halfway point. So far, from what you've seen, who's impressing you? And who is leaving you a little bit underwhelmed?
Impressed me so far is probably Chrissy with the strategy so far. Absolutely hit the nail on the head. You can see from the gap there, you know, it's gone from Chrissy being on the back foot to Chrissy being about two steps ahead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really, really good strategy there. The thing to look out for, actually, in my opinion, is going to be Jamsey. We saw him keep those hards on till 16 laps, and then now gone on to the mediums. There's only 11 laps left on the leader, and at the minute I'm just watching him now. He's now coming into the pits, but Lucas just took his mediums to 9 laps. Jamsey likes to push tyres. There is a chance, if everyone's going for a 2-stop strategy here, there's a chance that Jamsey could do a 1-stop and actually potentially pit a couple of people because they did that extra 2-stop strategy there.
Yeah. No,
so that is one to look out for, definitely, because I think he might have cooked with this one.
Well, only time will tell, but I think you're right. So we've seen people take those mediums to around about between 10 and 12 laps here this evening.
Ooh.
And now, we've seen 2 red arrows there. Has there been an incident? I see someone on the grass turning into a lawnmower. What are you seeing there, Sergio?
Yeah, big contact there between that looks like Lucas and Craig. Massive contact, actually. And that was in Sector 1 between turns 3 and 4. So quite long sweeping turns, and unfortunately they just had a complete coming together. And Craig's going at it with Frost now. He's got by him quite easily.
Sergio, but who's to blame for that incident? Who's going to be getting the penalty? Obviously it's unofficial from our side. We can't judge it. It will have to be submitted officially. But if you're the FIA, whose calls that there? If you saw it,
I saw the tail end of it, but what I could tell was that the cars in F1 ruling were side by side, but it was a case of nose to tail almost at an angle. So the front tyre axle was lined up with the rear tyre axle of another car, and they came together at that point. So for me, it's all on the car behind, which, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like it was Lucas from when I jumped on.
Oh, we've got a DNF. So is that in the pits? It may well be in the pits. So no crash yet. But man's got Tism here.
That is going to cause a safety car.
That has caused a safety car.
Well, potentially that is going to cause a safety car, unless it actually stops the car. Because if you retire in the pit lane, the AI automatically drives the car out. So that could potentially cause a safety car. And we've got another DNF as well, and that's Frost.
Yeah.
Frost has now gone as well, so that's going to be 2 cars driving out onto circuit under AI complete control. Sean's about to drive past one of the AI cars now, and it is a ghost car, and the yellow flags are out in sector 1, so there's going to be slow pace through there as your leader is now going to cross through in that territory.
Well, so the first 2 casualties of the evening, Frost Tactic, Griminus, and of course, man's got Tism. Tism, you feel a little bit sad for tonight because he had such a great start, but it was those track warning penalties that cost him realistically, and I don't think he felt like he could recover because of the pace, this electrifying pace of the grid here tonight. Getting comms there from Frost Tactics saying, I had a fucked rear wing and front 9 was... And wait, I'm going to read it how it says. This may not make sense, it may make sense. I had a fucked rear wing and front mine was over, and there was no way I could finish the race with that. So, wing issues there for Frost Tactic. He's basically saying, two-line didn't read, the front and the rear and front was fucked. That's what he said. I mean, is that fair enough for you, Sergio, or could he have made it work?
If the rear wing's got damage on it, there's no repairing that. Front wing, okay, they have spare ones in the pit lane, but if there's damage on the rear wing, there's no fixing that unless it's a technical difficulty in terms of an electric component that they can fix from the pit wall. It's very unlikely in these leagues and this system. That's more of a career mode feature. So I think at that point probably would be calling it quits because these cars live off of aero.
There you go, the correct decision then from our absolutely
there we go,
our expert. And here you go, they're saying defrost your wing next time. There you go. Well, listen, Kieran has taken the lead because Chizzy is making a pit and Chizzy is going back out on fresh hards. Does that surprise you, or is that all a part of the strategy?
That does surprise me. At this point I'd be going aggressive. If it was me, I was
convinced it would be mediums. I'll cut you off there.
I thought at least mediums. At least mediums. I thought maybe medium, take it to the end, or if you can push it, softs. But that is a massive bargain. The safer bet would have been mediums. I thought they'd be more aggressive as well because you can get more out of them in terms of pace. But who knows? Well, Chrissy might be one step ahead of us. I don't know.
He's banking that he can beat Kieran for pace at this point, isn't he? Because Kieran's going to stay out. Means Kieran's going to finish on 16-lap-old hards. And by that point, Chizzy's only going to have 8-lap-old hards. He's thinking that the difference between the wear of the tyres at that point will be great enough that he can still win this race. So I think it's a really, really dangerous strategy. I think you're gambling there. And it's going to be a tightrope finish, if you had to describe it, between Chizzy and Kieran. And same for Tilla. Tilla, not in a position either where he's out of this. 7-lap-old hards as well. Penalty update, of course, because they have flown in. HDino on 3, Rossi Rao on 3, Benchwarmer 3, Cons 6, Neddy 3, Ryan Parker 3, Blazer Guns has not recovered since that earlier incident with 9, and Sean R there in his debut tonight with a 3-second time penalty. Again, we'd love to get Sean R's opinion of how he found this grid tonight, because again, he has struggled, but it's always going to happen. And that's a big one, by the way, Sergio. Look at that. Kieran with a 3-second time penalty for multiple track water warnings there. So that is huge now, because that's going to mean that Tilla has got something really, really, really to latch onto. He's 8 seconds behind at the minute. He just has to make up 5 of those seconds, and he's going to maybe be right in the conversation for the not the championship, but the win here tonight in Abu Dhabi. And of course, talked about that risk from Chizzy, him hearing that news, him seeing that news, that's going to make him go, oh yeah, it's on now.
Yeah, it's more than on. Gained all that time in the first pit window. Really, really did well with that strategy. Second one, bit more level playing field there, but that first one might have been enough. And this penalty now added in on top. that might well be enough for an easy P1 victory here if he can play his cards right for the rest of the race. Just looking at your chat, one of those messages that's come in, it does look along the lines of that people are more comfortable on the hards. The mediums seem very slidey, which understandable. I've seen a few people slide out. I have to admit, I didn't pay attention on what tyres that they were on. I thought it was just people being a little more aggressive on getting on the accelerator early. But apparently it feels a bit greasy out there. So it's going to be an interesting one because I can see a bit of tyre deg on Kieran's car on the 3 tyres I mentioned, the front right and the rear 2. And obviously Chrissy now going quicker and quicker each lap. The pressure is really going to be on Kieran now to make the call. Does he just stay out for the rest of the race and hope it works?
Well, as well, the other dark horse that you alluded to earlier on was 6 laps to go, and it's the man on mediums here, Jamsey, right in between the McLarens, Hdinho and Rye. He's in 5th now, is the Aston Martin 6-lap-old mediums. I mean, could he sneak a podium finish here for you?
If he does it, I think driver of the day might go his way, because that would be a very, very impressive drive. A 6-lap-old at the minute, and we've still got another 5 technically laps to go, 5 full laps to go. So yeah, you're gonna be seeing these mediums on potentially 11 to 12 laps of life, and that's quite late on, considering people are feeling a bit unhappy on them at this stage, and they're a bit slidey at this point. James's dealing with it well so far that we can see on screen. We don't know what's going on behind that screen, but so far it looks comfortable. So see what happens in the next lap or two, because I think that's where we're really going to start to see a difference in the driving style.
While that happened as well, Shadow's Gunner actually went into the pits there, the Ferrari, Tilla's teammate, now returning back out with fresh mediums to end these last 5 laps or so. That could be a great strategy as well, because he is kind of, staring down the barrel at a lot of hard tyres in front of him, especially with the likes of Rozzy Wow on 11-lap-old hards. And of course, he's been a clean driver tonight, Shadow's Gunner, one of the few that has not picked up a single penalty. So he's just trying to keep it nice, tight, and compact here, so he can maybe jump a few places come the end of this race. I think he's in a great position, in Shadow's Gunner, to maybe kind of get in the points and deep if that. So for now, we cycle back on through the grid. There's a bit of spacing here between cars. You can see Chizzy chasing down Tilla. This is going to be the big one here. Can Chizzy get by Tilla and then start to work on reducing that time gap between him and VRL Kieran to maybe sneak home another win? He's just got the overtake on Tilla. Now it's just about his raw ability and pace, isn't it, Sergio?
Certainly is, and I will say I do like that. I think it was a bit of team play there in a way, even though they're not teammates between Tilla and Chrissy. I think Tilla knows that Chrissy was quicker, had the momentum, chasing down the win, and Tilla moved off to one side. Didn't really put up much of a defence, which is fine. There's nothing in the rules against that. But I was watching Chrissy's point of view, and I saw the DRS wing flapping up and down as if to say thank you, or so it would look that way. So a nice little funny moment there between those two. But yeah, the chase is now on. It is a case of it's like a Max Verstappen chasing down Lewis Hamilton kind of thing. You need at least a sort of second a lap minimum to be in with a chance to get in that top spot. And I think Kieran is ultimately going to go the distance and just try and see these tyres up to the end. Again, looking at his tyres though, a lot of graining on them. You're going to start to see them fray a little bit as well, and that'll be noticeable coming into the corners and the braking zones, because you're going to start to see Kieran lock up. But just watch that time, because it is coming down quickly. It
is, and remember, he's got a 3-second time penalty, so all Chizzy's got to do is turn that plus 7.9 to plus 4.9, and then he's pretty much going to be right there for the taking due to that penalty. And that, we always say, that's what this kind of race with such a tight grid, a competitive grid, comes down to. One mistake, one penalty, it can derail your entire race. But likewise, all it takes is one bad turn, one bad exit from Chizzy, and Kieran may well see this one out. So for now, it's in his control with 4 laps to go. But anything can happen. Ryan Hdinho, by the way, I mean, phenomenal tonight. 4th and 5th in the McLaren. Yes, Hdinho has got that penalty, but there are going to be concerns.
Someone's going to out. Well, potentially out of the race.
Yeah, I feel like I've commentators cursed that one to absolute kingdom come there, Sergio, because I was just about to say, I'm not too sure about those 14-lap-old hards, and then as I said that, I seem slipped down the grid. Was that a tyre issue, or was that someone being naughty?
No, he's got very lucky that he's only got the right winglet on the front wing missing. Sorry, front left. But it was actually Jamsey coming up on the rear end of HDino a lot quicker than he was expecting, potentially. And through a quick right-hander, it's the double right-hander, which is turns 10, 11 and 12. Between 10 and 11, he's sort of gone into the back of him. His nose is inserted into the rear of Dino's car and just spun him. Completely spun him. That extra power is like spinning up the rear tyres. That extra bit of power coming in from the rear from another vehicle is enough to just send you around completely, and at that point there's no saving it, especially at the speed they were going whilst turning as well. Recipe for disaster. HDino, I mean, expect him to put in a protest or something, because that has ruined potentially a magnificent race from the team in Papaya.
Well, he's gunning for it now. He's pitted and just gone on to softs here for the final 3 laps. But, I mean, from your perspective then, you know, after the race last week, Jamsey, if I'm not mistaken, was kind of, you know, reported, if you want to use that as a word, got given a plus 10-second penalty for an incident. Could we be seeing back-to-back weeks where Jamsey takes a 10-second penalty?
Without seeing replays and just from a live perspective, I'd say yes, minimum at the instant I just saw. But again, that's from a live point of view. It's hard to tell without any replays. But yeah, in the flesh, with my own 2 eyes, it's definitely on Jamsey there. That there should have been at least a little bit of a let off of the accelerator. Maybe not so much braking, but just let off the accelerator just a little bit, sitting behind the McLaren there, because he had 2 cars right in front of him for the taking, and unfortunately he's just managed to put one into the wall.
Well, with 2 laps to go, it's getting tighter and tighter at the top, Sergio. Plus 4.9. He's got a 3-second penalty, so now Chizzy, knowing that with 2 laps to go, he just needs to improve by 1 singular second or 1.9 singular seconds, and he's going to be home free as a winner tonight. 1.8 seconds, 1.7 and counting. It's dropping and dropping. Is 2 laps enough time for him to gain what he needs here, or is it too little, too late for you?
If he's pushing like we know he can, it's on. It's definitely on still. Nothing against that at all. You got to remember, Kieran's also lacking grip big time and is struggling through the corners. But just looking on board with him at the minute, he's maintaining it fairly well, but straight line speed as well, maybe not the best, because the tyres just don't have that grip to induce all that power. So there will be a slight disadvantage, but I think there's still enough time for now for Chrissy to potentially get this one done, because it's only a second now, which is technically that DRS range. In theory, it's DRS range, but obviously physically it's not going to be. But we're now down to 9/10 just by me finishing that sentence. So yeah, I think it's definitely on here, and we're going to see probably a side-by-side battle for the last lap.
Yeah, well, there you go. So again, if you're not knowing what's going on and you're an F1 amateur, all you got to know is that where it says plus 3.837 for Chizzy there, as soon as that drops under 3, if it goes to 2.9, Chizzy's leading this race because of Kieran's time penalty that he got earlier on. There's only 1 lap remaining. I mean, a quick note here, you know, as we go into the final stretch tonight, Sergio. The Mercedes, the Aston Martin, they've done brilliantly. Of course, Jamsey may well take another penalty. Dirty Hippo there, as I just praised the Mercedes, just has to kind of correct himself. Great to see Dirty Hippo back to his best tonight. I've said this last week. You know, this German driver in the Merc, someone that is so consistent. He's a safe pair of hands behind the wheel. You often see him, you know, sitting between that kind of 5th to 9th position, always in the points. He's back in there tonight, absolutely, is Dirty Hippo, and phenomenal for him. And Benchwarmer, of course, can have that penalty added, that 3-second time penalty added, but even him there should be remaining in the points. So it's a night of points for the Mercedes. It's going to be a night of points perhaps for Neddy as well, but it will depend what happens after the race tonight for Jamsey, if the Aston Martin get as many points as they would like. Same for Cons and Rosywell, you know, down there in 10th and 11th. Tonight, teammates have stuck pretty close to one another, and look at that. As I've said all that, Sergio. The impossible has become possible. Chizzy now is only 2.18 seconds behind, which therefore means Kieran tonight is going to lose this race. And that is just exactly the beauty of F1. It takes one bit of brilliance, which Chizzy has demonstrated here, and he's going to take this one back-to-back weeks tonight. GP1 winner and GP2 winner at sea. Oh, sorry. GP1 winner and GP2 winner here tonight.
Yeah, certainly is. It's been a great race so far, and unfortunately, I saw the moment Kieran got that penalty, and it was at the end of turn 1 there. He just went a little too wide onto the rumble strips, and unfortunately, stewards weren't happy with it. If he didn't have that one split moment then, and he kept it a little more on the track, he would have won this race.
Yeah.
Would have had it.
Absolutely, and that's going to be the one that eats away at him tonight, because he knows that it's those fine moments. You can get away with that when they're going for the podium, Sergio, but when you're going up against a brilliant driver like Chizzy, you have to be faultless. You've got to be expert. Tonight, Chizzy once again wins, and it's due not to his brilliance tonight, but due to a mistake from Kieran, due to those pesky track limits. Tilla has, of course, taken third place. He will start to get sick of that. He just can't seem to find the betterment of Kieran and of Chizzy, excuse me. Rye, though, another brilliant night from him. Sergio, 4th place for the McLaren. Hippo and Benchwarmer there with the Merc, 5th and 6th. Jamsey for the time being in 7th. How far will he drop with the potential report coming on him? Shadow's Gunner in 8th. Neddy in 9th. Rossi Wow, in the end, gets 10th position. Great from him tonight, back in the points after a disappointing exit last week. Michael in 11th. Cons in 12th. Ryan Parker in 13th. Lucas in 14th. And HDinho, Blazer Guns, Craigar and Sean are all finishing 15th, 16th, 17th and 18th. But yeah, for the most part tonight, a really decent race again. Not too many incidents, but Jamsey now maybe getting the reputation of being the league's bad boy if it is going to be another penalty. So we'll see what happens there. Again, anyone with any feeling of any sort of incident or issue tonight, please make sure you submit it to the stewards, and again, retrospective action and review will take place. Thoughts on the race tonight, Sergio? Give it to me.
Again, a fantastic race overall. Great tactical calls there this evening, from the pit stops, the times, and how they're going to go about their tyre selection as well. So fantastic in terms of that. Battles on track as well. We did see a fair few overtakes. There were some collisions, don't get me wrong, that happens in all racing, but that adds to the entertainment factor as well, and it was a fairly good flow and race as well. We didn't see one safety car, which is not always a good thing, not always a bad thing, but it was a nice flow and race, ultimately with a good result.
There you go. Well, listen, it's another win for Chizzy, and the question will again be posed, just like it is every season: who is going to stop this guy? Who is going to take the action of saying, I'm the superior driver, I'm going to be able to pip him to the finish? Again, Michael has just opened up the clip submission area as well for any incidents. Here's one more look, of course, of the grid, the final grid here tonight in terms of the times, best time, etc., etc. But a good night for a lot of the teams, the Mercedes in particular, as points are on the board. Sergio, next week, the 19th, we're back and we're there for our first sprint race in Miami. What are your thoughts on Miami? Should we be excited? Should we be scared? What do you think?
Excited, definitely excited. Good fun track. It's a street circuit again, so we do have areas of the track where the walls are really tight to the circuit, but then there's always places where it does open up as well. So it's like a 50-50 mix between race 1 and race 2 this season. So it's like you've got places from the Azerbaijan Grand Prix mixed with Abu Dhabi, and you've just put it together. That is Miami in a nutshell, basically. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun track, and I know there's quite a few people that do enjoy racing around the circuit. One of the newer ones on the calendar as well. It's going to be hot. Tyre temperatures are going to be up there, and the tyre deg is going to be high as well. So again, tyre strategy is going to be crucial for next race. So it'll be interesting to see what people do.
Wonderful. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure. Once again, all the drivers tonight, a big thank you to you. The fact that everyone was on time, no issues, no delays. We were in lightning fast at 9:30. The race was awesome. No safety cars. We had drama, overtakes, IQ, strategy, all the above. It was another great race tonight, 2 weeks in a row, and we're talking about the great quality on the grid. So that's only because of you guys behind the wheel. So big thank you to you tonight for making that what it is. Big thank you to Michael, as always, for putting in the time and effort again to give us this. It's a wonderful, wonderful 2 weeks in a row now that you're sitting back and saying, wow, but the quality here is just phenomenal. So props to him. And of course, last but not least, the big props to our race wizard in Sergio here joining me on comms. All the facts, all the figures, all the analytics. He is quite clearly the brain of this operation. Sergio, a big thank you to you tonight. Anything to end on that you want to add?
No, I just want to say thank you very much for everyone, and congratulations to all the racers as well this evening, and look forward to next week.
There you go. Fellas, you take it easy, take care, and of course, any clips, make sure, again, you submit them. Even if you think it's nothing, it's better to support it than not, to submit it than not submit it, isn't it? So, yeah, take care, take it easy, and we'll see you when we see you. A lot of Euros action this week in VFL. We've got the UFC card, of course, as always. Yeah, there's going to be something pretty much every day. So, yeah, we'll see you when we see you. Take care, take it easy, and good night. We're out.